So obviously start with you on this one. It feels weird. I feel like I'm doing a roundtable with Wolf over there.
Yeah.
but we've all been watching him closely. But you've been watching him closely. You've come on this show a lot the last few years and kind of broken down him and even where Isaiah
Right.
Simmons was. A whole new coaching staff. They're asking him to do different stuff. They're putting him in a different spot. What have you seen from Zaven this year?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with those sentiments or those comments about his game. I think we're missing a lot of the splash plays that we would like to see more often. Some of the sacks and PBUs. He's had, I think, maybe one or two interceptions this year. So those things that people typically gravitate to and say, "Ooh, yeah, he's balling," right? He could bust 50 other plays, but he has a sack and a pick, and it's a great game. And so I think those are the things that you're missing right now. So, but I would say consistently, based on what he's being asked to do, right? I think he is executing to the best of his ability. And sometimes when you're asked to do multiple things from different locations, it's hard to necessarily set up a guy to get a sack, right? Because I may see you twice, and now next time I'm on the outside. Now I'm off the ball. Now I'm dropping. Maybe now I'm rushing. And you're doing all these things, and so the production doesn't stand out. But because you are flexible and moving around, you can then impact the offense and help the defense and allow somebody else come open. So this is essentially what they're doing. Is essentially the role that what Buffalo was, how I was being used at the end of my career, because I could play off the ball. I could play outside. Zaven's even bigger than me. But, I have my D-tackle background, so I could slide into a 3 technique. And I think he's doing an excellent job of being able to disguise, and then you'll see him running down the middle of the field like a cover 2 middle linebacker, taking away the middle of the field. Most people don't have the skill. Right. Most people don't have the skill set to do these things that they're asking him to do, and he's doing a really good job at it. Now, his job as he grows in those and is able to hand it mentally and give great looks is now, how do I take this so that I can maybe free myself up as well and make some plays in this? And so it's really hard for a guy who's never rushed just to rush the edge.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're asking him to do that from a 3 technique. And he doesn't have the background or the knowledge of how do I do that effectively. And so he has to continue to get reps and understanding. And I would even talk to D tackles, hit up J.J. Watt, right? How do I do this, right? And so that I can make it my own, so that you can continue to be able to obviously help the defense, but obviously go out there and make some big splash plays that he's more than capable of doing as well. And I think that's going to come over, again, with more experience, more reps, and more practice of just learning how do you do that and how do you become effective, because it is hard. It's really hard when you're in different spots at different times.
You know what, so I'm so glad to hear you talk like this and talk about your own experience right here, because your career really took off up in Buffalo when they moved you to the outside, right?
Yeah, yes and no, but yes.
Okay, you're saying yes and no. Okay, all right, but to me,
I'm asking, yeah, for you, I mean, and the only reason why I say that,
you got the opportunity
to play defense. The only reason why I say that, Wolf, I'm always reserved, because when people phrase it that way, I feel like they are discrediting what I was doing on special teams.
No,
and not you.
No. You know,
and not
I would
you.
never do
and that's
that.
what I know. That's what I'm saying. And that's a more of an insecurity on my part.
That's okay.
Right?
Yes, I get
from a special teams, because I went to a Pro Bowl before I got to Buffalo.
You got that right. I thought you went to 2, did you
No, just
not?
1 before I got there.
All right, good.
But yes, from a defensive perspective, and I played the edge before I got to Buffalo, but that's when I got to play it multiple. And this is what I'm saying, right? Because after my first year in 2016, where I started at outside linebacker, first, second, third down, I had 12 and a half sacks. When Sean McDermott got there, I moved off the ball on first and second down. Third downs, I would come and play defensive end. Sometimes I would be inside. And so then my numbers changed, but my impact necessarily didn't change. And that's why I'm comparing that to what Zaven is doing, right? Don't judge him by interceptions and maybe necessarily sacks and all that, because he's being asked to do something that's very unique, and it's hard to quantify the impact, because if he lines up at the 3 technique, is he dropping or is he coming? That is creating indecision for the offensive line and quarterback that may allow somebody else to get a sack and somebody else to maybe get an interception.
True. The only reason why I'm concerned a little bit in regard to Zaven, whom I love, I absolutely love, one of my favorite dudes on the team because of who he is as a guy, right, and how he goes about his business. I respect the heck out of him because of that. But I'm a little concerned because it's kind of like you, because when you got the opportunity to do it on a game to game, suddenly you took off. You exploded. Right? And to me, I'm wondering where is that explosion?
So again,
that concerns me a little.
My background was different. Zaven, I don't know what his background is. I don't know. Did he play?
He played inside, of course. He played inside.
But I played inside 3 technique, right, coming up. Right? So I learned how to rush the passer, lining up over a guard and having to deal with a guard in the center, understanding slide protections, right? Who is coming to get me? How do I split this double team? How do I push the pocket? What's the most effective way?
So you're saying you had a lot of experience.
I had a lot of experience, going
opportunity.
Inside to outside. And I did this in year 10, right? Year 11. Towards the end of my career, I played 15 to your point, but after 9 years, then I'm doing all this versus Zaven, who's in his, 4th year, and being asked to do something he's never done before, and then expect him to have numbers is unfair. So I'm saying he's doing really good, and so I guess that's why I prefaced it with, hey, let's not judge him by the splashy plays, because that's not necessarily going to come right away, because he's doing his job first. He's probably thinking a lot. And then, now how do I become effective being a 3 technique? I don't have any three technique background, which is different from my experience, because I did have that. So I think I was probably a little bit more of effective inside pass rusher than he was at this point. But he has no foundation or substance to lean back on. So that's what I'm saying. Hey, you need to be talking to these D tackles. Call JJ. How do I do this? Right, dropping off the ball and dropping the Tampa 2 linebacker. He loves doing that. I can do that all day.
Right.
But how do I be effective now as I'm pushing this pocket when I'm up in there? How do I be effective when I'm an outside defensive end rushing? How do I cover from the outside, right? Because things happen a lot quicker than they typically do when I'm off the ball and I have time to kind of get to my coverage. And so those are the little things I think Nick Rollins was referring to that's going to allow him to be better. Because I think right now he's playing a little too high when he's rushing inside. He's a big man. I mean, I've sat with him, ate with him. This is a big dude. He has to learn a little bit how to lower that pad level a little bit, use his length, because he gets caught inside. And I've always talked about that. It was happening to him off the ball. Now he's on the ball, and the same thing is occurring. Uses his length, create that separation, be able to get his hands up, PBUs. There's a lot of things that he can continue to learn from a timing, a length standpoint, a leverage standpoint, that's going to make him effective in these different roles, more effective. And then, to your point, you start seeing more of these ooh, man, he just got a sack. Ooh, he just knocked the quarterback. Ooh, man, he got another he got another interception. All these things will start happening because the fundamentals are there to allow him to achieve those things.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.